Well, good morning. Welcome to New Testament. I'm so glad you guys were able to be here today. Unfortunately, I'm not able to join you. I appreciate your willingness to be able to allow me to be off for this first week as I'm finishing up some doctoral work for my classes. So hopefully that'll make me a little more sensitive to your struggles as a student, because I'm also struggling as a student. Well, I also want to thank Ambria or Sarah or whoever it is that's sitting with you today for passing out the syllabus, because there are some things in the syllabus that are going to be really critical for class. If you are a transfer into UPike and this is your first class or first semester, welcome aboard. For many of you, you might already know me, and I want to introduce myself as we get started with walking through the syllabus. That's kind of what the first day is going to be all about, is we're going to look at the syllabus, try to spend some time really paying attention to what's on there, and hopefully that will make the rest of the class be pretty smooth. So this is Intro to New Testament, 200 level class, one of your required religion courses, maybe to get those 3 of the 6 hours of religion out of the way. And again, my name is Rob Music. I am the campus chaplain, so you'll see me in various levels or various roles here on campus. My office is on the 6th floor of the record building. There are 3 ways to get into that building. In the center, big double doors like you were going to go in to go down to booth. My office is immediately to the right, next door to our little chapel there. So this class is going to be a series of readings and writings with a couple tests thrown in there. So if you will work hard consistently every day, kind of doing your readings and doing your writings, as opposed to throwing some big Hail Mary for an exam, you're going to do really well in this class, because 40% of your course is contingent or based on your reading and writing. So as I told you about me as being the campus chaplain, college was a very formational time for me. College was a time where I was able to integrate my faith into my studies and to see it as an act of worship. So if you're a person who comes from a place of faith, I want to encourage you to allow this course to help you increase your faith or to challenge your faith. But if you're a person who doesn't have any kind of Christian belief or practice, I want to encourage you, this class is an academic class. It's not based on whether you believe like I do. In no way do I seek to make you believe like I do. Actually, students who come from a non-Christian background oftentimes do better in this class than the students who come and have been in Sunday school and church their whole life. Because maybe you're one who's been to church your whole life, your dad's a preacher, your mom's a preacher. Many times you can assume, oh, I know everything that takes about the New Testament. And actually, many of those students do poorly because you don't do the work. So make sure you do the readings and you do the reflections, because that's going to be a huge part of your class. Now, beyond this class, I want to be here to support you as campus chaplain, so that may mean facilitating or leading a worship service like we have on Sunday nights and Tuesday chapels, maybe taking part with the Blessed Union of God on Mondays and Thursdays, or that may mean one-on-one support that you might need, spiritual guidance, prayer, someone to listen to you. So that's what I'm here to help you. We're here to learn together. I by no means have all the answers to life, but I hope, my prayer is for this class, is that you'll allow it to be a journey. Because you have a unique opportunity for the next 3 months to look at the New Testament. We're going to find out the New Testament is the most widely sold book in all of the world. Any place you go around the world, you're going to be able to find it. And if you travel anywhere around the world, you're going to find out that people around the world expect you to know something about the Christian faith. So this is going to be a really helpful class for you to get to know a little bit about Christianity, the beliefs of Christians, but the primary textbook of the Christian faith, these 27 letters or books known as the New Testament. So what I want you to do is I want you to get out a piece of paper or maybe a note card, and I want you to write down a couple things for me. Firstly, I want you to write down your name, the year that you are, maybe your freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. I want you to write down your hometown, your major, and your desire for this course. That you want to get an A, that you want to earn the 3 hours required for religion. Maybe there's some kind of burning question that you might have about spirituality or about faith. So after you put down your name, your year, your hometown, and your major, I also want you to put down what you want out of this course. And then finally, one question that you bring into this course that's not been answered for you, or you feel like it's never been properly addressed in your own journey. Now, I'll let you finish that. And as you are doing that, let's walk through the syllabus a little bit. And let's talk about your primary textbooks, what you will need for class. Number one, what you will need is a journal, kind of like this. And yes, I want it to be this size. The bookstore sells tons of them. You can buy them at Walmart also, because this is the way that you're going to journal. This semester, I won't allow anyone to turn it online, which is really opposite what I've been doing previous semesters. But this semester, I want you to do everything when it comes to your journaling. I want it to be done handwritten in something like this. Or if your handwriting is too sloppy, then you can type it, but it has to be pasted in here or stapled in here somehow. It makes it much easier for me to grade and to really give attention to it if you're doing it something like this. Now, when it comes to your daily writings, here's what I expect. Number one, I expect your name to be on here. Your name and your section, whatever section this is, B, C. So I want that on here. And then when you start out with your writings, what I want is, I don't want your name on each page, because you've already told me that here. So what I want is simply for you to, in this blank space up here, is to simply put the writing that you're about to write. Whether it's article summary on table fellowship, or it's the Matthew part 1 or John part 3, whatever it is, put that right there. And then I want you to write. I want you to write at least one full page for each reflection. Now, if you go over a page, that's going to be to your benefit. If you go under a page, you're automatically going to be deducted. And I don't want this double spaced. I want it single spaced on this here. Okay? Now, the other textbook that you're going to have is called the HarperCollins Study Bible. And that is, for some of you, you may not realize this, but there are different English translations of the Bible, up to 50 different English translations. The most popular translations are the King James, the NIV, or the New International Version, the New Living Translation, the New American, the Message, all these various levels of New Testament translations. The one that we're going to use for our class is the translation known as the New Revised Standard Version. So the NRSV. If you see those initials on anything that we do in the class, the NRSV, talking about the translation of the Bible that we'll be using for this class. Now, the HarperCollins Study Bible we use for all of our religion classes here. So Dr. Browning, Summer, Joe Wells, myself, John Lucas, whoever it is that you have for class, we will use that textbook. So it's important to use that Bible because you buy it once, you're good for the rest of the classes. But also, that has some really, really helpful study notes. What happens is when you open up that Bible, hopefully you have it in front of you today, because I want you to bring it to class. Now, some of you may be using a Bible electronically, but for your writing assignments, I want you to use this HarperCollins Study Bible, because it's going to give you some key insights. So if you do me a favor, if you will open up that Bible in front of you, what you're going to notice is the top half of the page is the actual text. So when I assign you, let's say I'm going to ask you to read the first 7 chapters of Matthew, it's that top half of the scripture there. The bottom half, there's a line, and the bottom half are what we call study notes. That's for your own benefit. And you can look at that or not, depending on the writing. But that's not required reading. Only the top is required. So you'll get really used to that study Bible. I hope that you will be able to quickly find things in the Bible. Some are already able to do that. Others, it's more of a challenge. It's okay. When I first started studying religion, I had no idea about where anything was in the Bible, let alone the fact that there was a Bible. Now, some of you may be used to using the King James Bible, and in this class I'm going to ask that you would not. Unless for some religious reason you need to use the King James, and if that's the case, please come talk to me. But if you use it in your, if you don't talk to me about it, and you use it in your writings, you will be deducted, because the King James is a very old translation. The last time it's been updated was 1711. That's before the American Revolution. So we're trying to get you to be into a newer, modern translation with some words that might be helpful for you. Now, with our course, we know that 40% of our course is going to be grading, or going to be the writings and your readings. 30% of the class will be the 3 major exams that we will have. Now, the 10% each for each of the exams. One exam will be over all the background, kind of the foundational stuff to the study of the New Testament, where we talk about the Roman Empire, Jewish thought, Hellenistic thought, some foundational concepts to studying the Bible. That'll be test 1. Test 2 will be all about the Gospels, the study of 4 books called Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And these are the primary texts that talk about Jesus of Nazareth, this person that we will spend a lot of time studying. And then finally, the 3rd exam will cover half of the New Testament, the writings of a guy by the name of the Apostle Paul. He's one that will have a dramatic conversion, and he will then pen 13 of the 27 letters. So we will spend significant time with him. Now, for the exams, there aren't study guides. So it's really critical that when you come to class that you take notes. And I will try to throw you hints to say, that'd make a great test question. And there's moments when you would want to highlight, underline. But it's going to be important to stay awake and to take notes in this course, because I really do believe in class attendance. Now, I know for some of you, you are athletes. Maybe you play softball or basketball or baseball, and the spring is going to be very, very busy for you. If that's the case, we already need to talk. We need to talk about ways that you can make up some of your absences, because being in class is critical. Okay? Now, as we've talked about, you'll have tests, you'll have writings, and then you'll also have something called the Compassion Project, which will be at the end of the semester, and that will be due the final day of class, which we will cover a little bit later. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about what's most important first. So let's look at your syllabus, look at page 1 of your syllabus, and kind of talk about what this class is all about. This class is, it seeks to kind of give you a very broad, very general overview of the individual letters or books that compose the New Testament. One thing that people don't realize is the New Testament was written over a period of time, probably maybe about 70-year period, composed of various different authors of Jewish and Gentile faith. And this text has these widely circulated letters that are ultimately compiled or put together much after the writing. I'm going to argue in this class that the last book of the New Testament to be written is probably either the Gospel of John or the book known as Revelation. Probably written just under the year 100 CE. So about 2,000 years ago or so. 1,900 years ago. But as these individual letters are being written to different communities, such as the letter that we would write to Feds Creek, or the letter we would write to the people up in Mud Creek, those letters were being circulated, but it wasn't until about 300 years after the final letter to be written, so about the year 400, actually 397 to be exact, is the New Testament finally put all together. So one thing that we're going to kind of seek to explore in the class is that it wasn't a very clean process. It was a messy process to get all these books together, all these letters together to make the New Testament. So the course seeks to give you a very broad surface, swooping understanding of these documents, because we're trying to place these texts within their historical and social, political, and religious foundations. We are going to talk at length in this class about context. I am convinced that we will struggle to understand really what the Bible is saying unless we understand what was the original intent of the authors, trying to get at what was going on at that time to help them write their letter. Today, you and I, we might send a text to somebody, and if I were to intercept, or maybe the text was sent to the wrong person, and you were in mid-conversation with somebody, and you sent a text, and it came to me, I may look at it and say, oh, okay, I think I know what this means. Now, I could be completely, utterly, absolutely wrong if I didn't know what was being said before the text, what was going on between you and the individual that were sending the text back and forth. It's really important to know the context of why you're sending that text. So it is with the New Testament. So this is a survey class. And we will be looking at, I'll be asking you to think deeply about these documents, about the issues that the New Testament Christians were struggling with, and why they felt like it was so important to write these documents. Also, I hope to challenge you. I am convinced that many times in church, we don't ask you to think very deeply. We simply ask you in church to say that you believe certain things, but in this class, I'm going to ask you to think about why it is that these documents are being written, and what are they challenging a person to think about. I really want you to get out of this class that after these 3 months that you will be able to know for certain that you know kind of the broad understanding of the New Testament, but also about Christians. Because the thing that I cannot stand about the way that people use the Bible is that oftentimes people use the Bible as a club. They will tout one verse or two verses here and there, and they will use it as a weapon to hurt people, to challenge someone's behavior or lifestyle choices. But oftentimes people in the church really don't know what the Bible says. They haven't really read it. And I want to give you the tools or the resources so that when someone confronts you, you can say, actually, I have read the New Testament, and here's what I understand about it. So, the most widely celebrated piece of literature in the world that you will be able to kind of explore and find out why it's had such a lasting impact in our society. So it's kind of, I'm going to argue this class is really, really important for daily life. Now, with your class attendance, you're going to find out the syllabus after we go down here under course requirements. On the next page, page 2, it's going to talk about attendance. Now, in this class, you will, because this is Monday, Wednesday, Friday class, you are allowed to miss 3 classes without any kind of grade being disturbed. You get 3 free absences. So maybe that means you have 3 softball games, or you slept in 3 times, or your kid needs to go to the doctor, or you just have transmission problems. Anytime that you're out in class, you don't have to give me a note. I won't take excused absences, so don't worry, don't trouble your doctor. I trust that you're an adult. You know when you need to be in class and when you don't need to be. So 3 absences, no problem. Now, after 3, once we get to 4 to 7, you can miss up to 7 classes for this course. But between 4 and 7, if you don't make up anything, you will be deducted 25 points from the class. Now, out of a 1,000-point class, 200 or 25 points out of 1,000 isn't really that big a deal, but it's enough to make you feel like maybe I should have been in class more often. Now, throughout the semester, you will be given opportunities to make up missed absences, whether it's things that we do for spiritual life. In the evening, we show a movie, we have a speaker, you can come make up attendance, earn extra credit. So those will be opportunities for you, especially if you're an athlete. Don't feel just because you're going to travel, I'm going to be hard on you. I've never had an athlete, I'll say this. I've never had an athlete in my course ever fail for attendance just because they missed for their sport. Now, I've had some athletes struggle in the class because they've missed 3 times for sports and then 8 times because they didn't want to get out of bed for course. So, now, you will have plenty of ways, either coming to 737 or one of the special events that we have, to make up your attendance. Also, if you miss beyond 7 classes and you don't make up the attendance, then you automatically fail. Students have wondered about this, but I think it's critical that you're in class. So please know, even if you're getting an A in this class, unless you come to class, you're going to be in trouble. So there is more of a strict attendance policy in this course. You will be required every day to have a writing in your college-bound journal. You'll be asked to do reading every day, and we have 3 exams. That's how you'll be graded in this course. Now, here's what I expect for your daily writings. Okay? 1 full page in length. They will be single-spaced in your writings. No need for double spacing there. And if you use any kind of outside source, which is fine. If you want to do research or you don't even understand the question that I'm trying to ask you, use a source. Go to the internet, find a good, legitimate source. Go to the library. All I want you to do simply is to cite the source. Now, when it comes to citing, I know we have all kinds of various majors. We may have people that use MLA or APA. The way that you cite is not important to me. Use whatever method that you use for your discipline. So if you're an APA person, go ahead and use that. Whatever you need to do. However, I just need to know that those are not your words that you're using and that you're citing some kind of expert. So at the end of your paper, simply just put the source. Now, do you need to cite the Bible? That's a good question. If you are making a quotation from the Bible, you should simply cite it at the end of the statement, in-text citation, by putting in parentheses Matthew 16, verse 15. Or you don't have to put New Revised Standard, Harper Collins Study Bible. You don't need any of that. Okay? And formatting for me is very important with your writings, because when we have a consistency, I have 100 students in the 2 sections of New Testament. So the more consistent everyone is, it makes it easier for everyone to be graded at the same level. So I want to make sure that you are getting the best opportunity possible for succeeding in this class, because it's only fair for you to earn the grade that you really are working for, because this class really is going to make you work, and I want you to succeed as best as possible. Now, with this class, at various times there may be questions or concerns that you have. In a large class of 50 people, you may not feel comfortable raising your hand, or maybe because you have a class immediately afterwards or right before this course, you won't really have time to ask me before or after. I want you to know that I have a lot of office hours here on campus, and I want to encourage you to come by. I keep my door open for a reason, because I want you to come in to ask your questions, talk about class. I don't want you to ever have to worry about where you stand in class, or if there's something that you don't understand. The quicker we can get those misunderstandings out of the way, the quicker you can succeed. So if my door is open, even if there's a student in there, if the door is open, come right in. If not, just go ahead and knock. It's right there on the 6th floor. Now, one thing that I put in the syllabus that I think is really important is this understanding of my covenant with you. And a covenant is like an agreement. It's church language, or it's Bible language, but a covenant is a promise. And my covenant or my commitment to you is this. I want to read it from the syllabus. This is found on page 6. Is I want you to succeed in this course and in life. I covenant with you to make the course material understandable and helpful to you, for the grading to be fair, and to be personally available to you for any support that you might need. I have a desire, or I have no desire to see you fail. If everyone passes, everyone gets an A, that's great. I have no desire to see anyone fail. But if you feel yourself overwhelmed, or you're simply freaking out, get a hold of me. We can talk. The New Testament is full of encouragement. 365 times the New Testament says, do not be afraid. So that's my advice to you in this class. Now, that's my covenant to you. But anytime there's a covenant, there's also an expectation on the other party. So my invitation to you, as it says in the syllabus, is that I want you to be hungry to learn. College is not about getting through some course, because if that's what college was about, then there are all kinds of other cheaper ways to get learning or get course credit, and various other online schools or places even locally. But college is about learning, and it's about, it requires self-discipline on your part and the commitment to learn, which is really hard work. So get a partner to be accountable with in this class, or get a group that you study with or you work on the writings with. Because everybody has the opportunity. At this moment, you're all sitting in this class today on the first day, and you all have an A. You can keep that up and earn an A in this class. This may be the first A you get in college. If you work hard, you will be rewarded in a class like this. But if you start struggling, get help. Study as a group if necessary. Take good notes in this class. Do all the readings. I've never had a student in my class do all of the readings and fail. It just doesn't happen. If you do the readings, you will succeed. And you're going to find out that if you do read the New Testament and you engage in its concepts, you will find yourself becoming a more compassionate person. Now, I'm not saying that you have to become a Christian, but you will find yourself becoming more compassionate, being a better person to be around. And that's really what life's all about. So, that's my invitation to you, my covenant, and then also my invitation for you to receive that covenant. Now, we've talked about the attendance. I want to make sure that you understand that. The question is, where do we go from here? Because I'm gone today. So you're going to find on the first page of your syllabus, you're going to find all of my contact information. Where my email is. My email is email is robertmusic@upike.edu. Some people email me at robmusic, because that's my name, but they've made it Robert Music, so email me if you have any questions about the syllabus. You can also call me. I'm in class until 5:30 every day, but call me afterwards. Leave me a message. I'll call you back. My cell phone number is 419-560-6381. I've put it there in the syllabus, so feel free to call me. If I'm busy or I'm in class or whatever, I'll let it go to message. You can also send me a text if you want, and we'll see how we can best clear up anything that I'm muddying here today. So let's actually talk about the day in, day out kind of stuff. What's due for next time and all of that. So the class is out of 1,000 points. 40% or 400 points are your daily writings. The writings are worth 10 points each. And formatting and content. Now, this class, I'm not so much worried about making sure that your grammar is completely perfect. This is not an English class, but this is 200 levels, so I do expect you to be able to complete sentences, inform thought, those type of things. So, and when you take those 40 writings and you combine them together, that will be your 400 points for that, for the writing section or the journaling section of class. Now, let's talk about what's due next time. For Wednesday and Friday, because I'll still be out of town with my doctoral work, you do not have an in-class lecture. But what you do have is, in your syllabus on Wednesday and Friday, I have given you links on YouTube to videos that I want you to watch. And when you watch these videos, I'll be asking you to then write one-page summaries. The first video you're going to watch is it's a battle, or it's the setting up of a battle between the Roman Empire, or the Roman oppressors, who were occupying the Jewish land of Israel. And this takes place about 36 years after the time of Jesus of Nazareth. So it's right in the middle of the writing of the New Testament. We're going to find out the Jews in Israel, a very small group of Jews known as Zealots, were so angry at the Roman Empire that they threw off the empire, or attempted to throw off the empire, and wanted to have freedom. And they wanted to have Jewish freedom, where their religion was primary, that they would have no more foreign oppressors. And we're going to find out, starting in 66 CE, for 4 years up into 70 CE, the Jews of Israel and the Roman Empire battled back and forth, and finally in 70 CE, the Roman Empire comes in extremely heavy-handed to the capital city of Jerusalem and levels the place, destroys the temple. And that first video is going to go through that whole thing. So it starts in 66 CE, ends up in 70 CE, and the reason why the video is so important is because we have to realize that although many of the stories of the New Testament are written about the time of Jesus, they're being written during the time of this war. So this war sets the context for many of the writings of the New Testament, or the way the early Christians reflected on having the Romans destroy Jerusalem, level the temple. So it's really pivotal. That's for Wednesday. So go on and watch that YouTube video, and you will then, in your journal, you will write a one-page summary of that video on Friday. Also on Friday, you will not need to come to class because I won't be here. So Wednesday and Friday, you won't come to class. And on Wednesday, or on Friday, I have given you the link in the syllabus to the first part of a video that has 9 parts. 9 short parts, equals out to be about 50 minutes. In this video is all about what we call the Gnostic Gospels, or the stories of Jesus that didn't make the New Testament. It turns out we're going to find out that there were a ton of other letters and documents being written at the same time as the New Testament, but not all made it. Actually, very few made it into this list, or this book that we call the New Testament. And for me personally, and for many others, there's a lot of fascination about these letters that didn't make it, and the way they describe Jesus. So this YouTube video that I'm going to ask you to look at, I want you to watch all 9 sections, because there will be questions about this video on the exam. So, and then you're going to write at least a one-page reflection summary of that for Friday. So Wednesday, Friday, no class, but you have outside of class activities that the syllabus clearly talks about. Then on Monday the 19th, we don't have class because of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Day, so I won't really see you in person again till Wednesday, January 21st. And on that day, you're going to have 2 journals due. So I know that you'll be excited to meet me in person. I'm going to be really excited to meet you. Also, as you continue to look forward in the syllabus, you're going to notice on page 3 of the syllabus, it starts getting into a rhythm. You'll have an article that I will post online, which is already on Joel, and you will then read the article and write a summary of it. What I've done is there's a lot of free online resources that the university library has, and rather than making you buy a textbook, because many textbooks are expensive, we simply have foregone the textbook route and simply given you a series of articles. Some are great, others will seem quite long, but they're helpful. These articles I want to give you are helpful laying the background. I know it's going to feel like in this class, when are we ever going to get to the Bible? When are we ever going to get to read the New Testament? But don't worry, February 9th will be the beginning of when we actually get into the text. But we have to lay some critical foundations. So as you go along, let's keep looking on page 3 of the syllabus. As we go along, you'll find your first exam is on a Friday. Friday, February 6th. That's all the background information we'll cover in every lecture so far. Then on February 9th, we'll begin our daily writing reflections on the Bible. February 9th, I've given you a series of 4 different short Bible readings to compare and contrast with. In the rest of the class periods, we'll be looking at a section of the Bible to read, and then you'll be writing on it. Now, the one thing about the Bible, or especially the New Testament, that you may not be familiar with is the way it's actually written. For example, if you're reading some regular textbook, your teacher's going to tell you,